Okay, sorry. Seems like that. Sorry about that. My computer stalled on me here and froze up. So continuing on our story, anyone on that knows us, Catalyst Sales and Marketing, we're a local Atlantic Canadian agency, and what we do is we connect global manufacturers to our local markets here. So getting right into electric heat, some of the positives: efficiency. Electric heating solutions are 100% energy efficient. All the energy taken in by the heater is converted to heat. Environmental. So electric heating systems use electricity to operate. There's no need for natural gas or fossil fuels on site. With electrical systems shifting to support carbon-free and alternative energy sources, being solar, wind, hydro, we now have more choices than ever to reduce our carbon footprint. It's affordable. So electric heat, you can do zone control, which means you only need to heat the space that you're in while it's being used. Is there any need to have the basement, say, at a super comfortable temperature if you're not down there? It's been shown that this can produce energy savings up to 20%. Clean, safe, and carbon-free. So they produce zero combustion in homes, so they're completely safe. This means no carbon monoxide odors, fumes, smoke, or exhaust. And depending on the type of electric heating system, there'd be no noise. Flexible and reliable. Electric resistance heating systems can be configured with programmable, non-programmable. Programmability has really come a long way now, where you can actually go on your phone and you can turn your heaters on from distance or modify their settings. You've also got the adaptability platforms, where a device may monitor how you move around and how you move through your home, also saving. And then you also have your setbacks, delays, setbacks overnight, or setback while you're away. And setback, for instance, has been proven to save up to 6% just by setback. Also, the systems are reliable. Typically, I know personally some systems that are well over 30 years old that are electric resistance heaters. Carbon footprint. So reducing Canada's carbon footprint, there's been a huge advancement towards reducing our carbon footprint in Canada. Households are facing a period of dynamic change and creating an area called electrification. That's the buzzword we hear in industry nowadays. Everything is moving towards being electrified. This is reshaping things and how electricity is generated and distributed. Also how it's used in homes to power everything from heating, cooling, electric cars, and what have you. But this effort is to become a greener nation. It can't stop with just us. Like 80% of electricity is generated in Canada. Some people don't know this. This is from the Enercan website. 80% of our electricity is generated by non-greenhouse emitting sources, such as hydro, nuclear, and renewables. That makes us one of the cleanest energy producers in the world. To begin your own electrification movement at home by using electricity and experience the comfort and safety that they can provide. So heating accounts for up to 62% of the energy consumed in homes. Installing an efficient heat source presents an excellent opportunity. It's gained traction, electric, because of its comfort, reliability, and environmental benefits. So according to Stats Canada, nearly 40% of Canadian homes are already heated with electricity. You can explore many benefits here, but ultimately, if you look on the right here, this slide, we've got electric furnaces, boilers, heat pumps, active heating solar, and electric heat. From the basis of, it could be a convector, it could be a baseboard, resistance heating. And you can see some of the life expectancies there, efficiencies. So why choose electric heat? Well, it's affordable. One of the most common misconceptions about electric heat is that these systems are costly, when really, I mean, over time, if you look at the maintenance costs, there's not many moving pieces. They can typically be less expensive than other heating sources. One of the least expensive, we all know, would be, electric baseboard. I can't really think of any others that would be less expensive than that. Here we see forced air systems, we see radiant systems, radiant heating, hot water baseboards, so that would be through an electric boiler. While it's true that operating costs can vary on provincial electricity cost variations, the actual cost to operate an electric heat source is lower because it has fewer moving parts, as we stated. The other thing, that you can do is zone heat. Zone heat's one of the easiest ways to get ahead. They're efficient. Again, 100% of any energy that comes into the home through the form of a resistance heater, it comes into the home. It's 100% efficient. Meaning the dollar you spend, it's the dollar coming in. It's flexible. Electric resistance heat systems are more sophisticated than ever before. They can be configured with non-programmable, programmable, smart connected thermostats. I think you can do some things now even with Alexa and Google Home. There's different types of thermostats out there. They offer increasing levels of control in every room. Some homeowners actually, if you've already got a central heating system, a popular thing to do is to supplement areas that you're in most often. So if you've got a central heating system, you only maybe have one or two thermostats. That makes it a lot less efficient, where you'll have someone, they may install a heater in places they're in most often, like a living room or a kitchen. This is typically done during the winter months, and that has shown to, one, increase comfort and lower your overall heating bill. This still gives you the flexibility to cool with a central air if that's what you so have. It's clean and safe. If you've got a fuel burning system, you're likely to be familiar with odors. Electric heating systems don't have any combustion, so there's no odors or harmful gases. One of the other things I'll mention too, if you've got oil, I know on our last webinar this morning, one of the principals of Catalyst was mentioning he actually had oil removed off his property. So he went from an oil burning furnace to electric heat. And once the oil was removed from his property, that being the oil storage barrel, his insurance went down significantly. So that's another benefit of moving to an electric heat source, right? You no longer have that fuel on your property. That fuel is definitely a liability. A line could be punctured. I've heard about lines freezing and bursting. They can also have a slow drip, which can contaminate your property and obviously not good for the environment. As an Atlantic Canadian, we all know or may have heard of somebody that had a barrel leak, rupture, what have you, and became a catastrophe. That's only the people that said something about it. There's countless others that maybe be not so forthcoming in an incident like that. Reliability. Again, going back to that, electric heat is indeed reliable. And in the event where you've got a central system, if there's an issue with it, the central system often would maybe have to be taken offline. Whereas with electric heat, it's usually spot. You've got several heaters all over the place. And you can, if one, say, has a failure, if it can be removed, it's a small bump. Whereas a typical large heating system, if there's an issue with it, again, it may have to be taken offline. There could be more complications. Again, going back to, we know there are electric heaters out there that have gone well and surpassed the 25-year mark. Now, here's a slide we use often in our presentation for solar. And what this is showing is the tons. And we see here Atlantic Canada we have a lot of dirty producing facilities in Atlantic. And what you're seeing here, this isn't power generation. So just to be clear, this is just dirty producers in general. But there's never been a greater shift in Canada than there has been, within the past couple of years, whether it be incentivized by federal government. We're seeing more solar in the province or provinces. A couple of years ago, there was a big push on for wind turbines. They're popping up over across the Atlantic. So looking at this again across Canada, this is more dirty producing provinces as opposed to power generation. Back in 2005, some of the young participants on here may not remember that, but this little thing called the Kyoto Accord. And back in 2005, the Canadian government committed to lowering the greenhouse gas emissions 50% by 2030. So the benchmark, we're going by 2005 levels. The Canadian government committed to lowering the greenhouse gas of 2005 to 50%. So having the 2005 level to 50% by 2030. Electric heat offers advanced design options. Well, so there's some manufacturers out there that, let's say, if you are going with a heater that you're going to see, as opposed to something that you can't see, whether it be radiant underfloor heating. We have some manufacturers that will actually paint. They'll paint the baseboard, they'll paint the convector. You can get the convector in different colors. The other thing, you can move things around. You've got areas you can do placement, right? So it's basically, you can design that better suits your needs. Not every heater needs to go under a window, that type of thing, right? So with all the upgrades you might do to a living space, why not make your heat source, warm and inviting? Another thing we see often is, from this perspective of design options, would be, radiant flooring. Then, if it's in the floor, then you don't need to worry about what wall you're going to put a device on. Types of electric resistance heaters. We got these stock photos here on the right, and I will mention, I personally do not condone plug-in heaters. I'm a big fan of hardwire, so I will say that. But going down through the line, starting with electric baseboard. So electric baseboard, that's one of the most common types of electric heater. It's probably one of the most least expensive methods. And this circulates, I'm going to say somewhat uneven, circulates air within a space, and they're ideal for any room. They're usually installed under a window to counteract the effects of that colder space. And then we have convectors. Convectors do a great job. Anyone that knows me would know that I'm a huge fan of convectors. I have them in my own home. And convectors, what they do is they use their height, physical height, to leverage, and they better circulate the air within a space. These units are ideal for any room. We have then fan forced heaters. Fan forced, typically you want to put the fan forced heater in a space that you need quick heat, like a bathroom, ideally an entryway. And again, they allow for a quick warm up time. You'll often see a fan forced heater with a timer. We also have electric radiant. Now there's a few different types of electric radiant. Electric radiant in the sense that we're going to heat the floor, and that is going to become a thermal mass. There's some disadvantages of that. One is, if you're doing setbacks, it's more difficult to get a good setback out of it because it doesn't heat up as quick. But so one would be electric radiant in the floor. Haven't seen it in a long time, but they used to have radiant ceilings. And then you also have the type of radiant heater that would be similar to, say, a patio heater, or we also have wall-mounted styles. So they look like a convector, but they actually have a face that is a radiant surface. And these typically heat up objects as opposed to heating the air. Moving along, then we have electric thermal storage. That technology, it stores heat during low demand times at night, typically when the rates are lower. If your utility offers this, and I believe right now the only utility in Atlantic is Nova Scotia that offers that ETS. That's what they're often called, ETS units. But you can expect to save basically because you're buying power off peak rates. You're getting a deal on the power, and you're using the power you bought at night. There's an electric element inside the thermal storage unit with these bricks. So basically it heats up these bricks, and in the daytime these bricks then give off the heat that you bought at night. Next one, we have electric furnaces. So these furnaces are basically a big box with a large fan and a bank of resistance coils, and the air gets forced through that. Often it's connected to a ducted system, so it's ducted throughout the home. Not a lot. We used to actually sell these products, but there's been a decline because usually the application would be where someone had gotten rid of an old system or an old oil-fired furnace. They had the existing ductwork, and this was the easiest and least expensive way to use what their existing infrastructure in their home. We also have electric boilers. So electric boilers, elements heating the water, and the water then heating either floor, or a radiator. And we can't forget these other types of electric heaters, the refrigeration cycle type. So these include heat pumps, which are very popular right now. Mini split. That's actually, I have a mini split. I have an open concept home. I have convectors all throughout my home with a mini split. There's also heat pumps, ducted open loop, and then geothermal. The biggest difference between these ones would be one, the water-driven and geothermal both get their heat from the ground. Air pulling the heat from the existing air. There's some pros and cons. For the water style heat pump and geothermal, the return on investment is carried over time. So there are more invested cost up front. And here we see just some of the capabilities here between the mini split, air source, and geothermal. Another thing I'll point out is that in some cases you may already require a backup source of heat. So not all refrigeration cycle types are standalone. So you may need to have a baseboard or a convector as a backup heat source. But certainly I can attest to any ductless split being a benefit in the shoulder seasons, meaning the seasons that are cold but not super, super cold. So here's some frequently asked questions that we see. You know, these are questions that are asked. Is my living workspace ideal for an electric heating system? Well, any electric heat system can be used in any room or environment. However, you know, these systems work best in spaces that require direct and/or supplemental heating, such as bedrooms, living rooms, basements, new room additions. For instance, in-floor heat systems are ideal for bathrooms. Electric baseboards or convectors, more commonly used in bedrooms and living rooms. One thing I will mention before having a heating system sized or investigating, the customer or you should consider properly insulating and draft proofing the rooms, and that'll depend on the age of the home. But you know, a thorough check of all the caulking, weather stripping, and insulation. This will ensure extra comfort and cost savings for years to come. Another question: what are the cost savings can I expect with an electric heating system? Well, zone heating can provide up to, and in some cases above 20% in energy saving when compared to heating with a central unit. Well, cost savings, you know, they could vary from province to province depending on variances in electrical cost. Some utilities also offer special incentives. Like I believe most utilities right now offer an incentive for ductless mini splits. Why should I choose an electronic thermostat? A worthy investment. You know, the electronic stat can help achieve a substantial cost energy savings. A study conducted by a company called École Polytechnique in Montreal showed that a non-programmable electronic thermostat can achieve energy savings of up to 12% compared to a mechanical one. So an electronic non-programmable compared to an old mechanical thermostat could be 12%. Programming, in addition to that, could save you up to 20% when you add in programming costs. So there's no better time. Electric resistance heat continues to be a popular source with consumers for good reason. Simply put, it's affordable, efficient, safe, clean, and comfortable. Also, with increasingly sophisticated design options and compatibility with programmable thermostats, you can experience new levels of flexibility and temperature control. These advancements in electricity generation, they've paved the way for electrical heating systems to be more versatile now than we've ever seen. We're now harnessing the power of electricity. You know, we're connecting to a very wide range of renewable sources, solar and wind, making it a true green choice as we shift. And make no mistake, you know, whether it be adapting mechanisms to existing dirty producers or incentivize, you know, the government incentivizing things like solar at the home level or solar fields. You know, we're seeing more projects around Atlantic Canada that are going to add to that green movement. As with electric cars and home batteries, electric resistance heat's fast becoming the new way of gaining maximum comfort. I want to acknowledge one of the ideas that came, our first idea that came to us in regards to doing a presentation like this came between, while we do have a heating line on our line card, but also through Electrofet Canada. There's some great documentation on there if you have time to surf. Google Electrofet Canada. The other one would be the Natural Resources Canada. If you have time to take a surf on their website, just a wealth of information and data on there. Our manufacturer that we represent in Atlantic is Convectair, and they manufacture convectors and bathroom heating products. You can reach us by Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or see our website and our lines at www.catalystsales.ca.